I am Imlay City. My name is Randy Jorgensen, and I'm in the newspaper business. We have a newspaper. It's called Tri-City Times. My wife and I, my wife Kim, and I and our family run the newspaper along with some other products as well. And and we have been involved for about 44 years, 45 years now in the newspaper business. Uh, have a son that's involved in the business, and we have three grandsons. The I am Imlay City, I think, just because of the newspaper business. Uh, I have an interest in telling stories, and I'm pretty confident that we've done a pretty decent job in telling stories over the last 40 years. And that's who we are. We're storytellers, and newspapers are important in those regards to tell the story about the community. I wanted to participate in this storytelling project because in every community, no matter what, there's a story in everyone. One of the real interesting things that we did, and it was kind of an exercise with one of our reporters, was we went through the classified pages and we found a gentleman that was mowing lawns, and he advertised in the classified pages that he would mow anybody's lawn, and we went to interview him. And we found out he was a World War II veteran. We found out he worked for General Motors prior to retiring. His family had an interesting story. And so I guess it just goes to prove that everyone has a story. And when you talked about telling Imlay City's story, I think we've told many stories about Imlay City and the proof that it's a great little community to tell stories. One specific story I'd like to share about Imlay City is, and it goes back a ways, we had an editor by the name of Dwight Gerald. And Dwight worked for the old Detroit Times, and he had a friend by the name of Neil Shine. Neil Shine was editor of the Free Press, and the two of them started talking back and forth a little bit, and they decided to switch roles for a day. So our Dwight went down to Detroit to be editor at the Free Press for a day, and Neil came up here to be editor of the Tri-City Times for a day. And of course, we had all kinds of things planned for Neil. He came in and sat down, and I had a person complain about the bill, and I had another person complain that the story wasn't quite right, and another person that gave him a hug for writing a beautiful story about, her dog or something similar to that. And Neil was taken back by that. And I told him later, I said, well, it's time for breakfast. Dwight always likes to go for breakfast in the morning. And I had a limousine set up for him, and we took him down to one of the local restaurants. And there I had a fellow by the name of Gene Coscarelli that stepped forward, and he was complaining about something or about his bill, I think. And Neil's just chuckling to himself and saying, is this really what local newspapering is all about? Because he spent so much time. And he ended up writing an article, a quite lengthy article, about being the editor for a day at Tri-City Times in Imlay City. And the bottom line for him, and the closing line for him, was he said, Imlay City is not bad work. Newspaper in Imlay City is not bad work, as long as it's in Imlay City. And he just said what a great community it was, and he enjoyed his time here, and he enjoyed the people they had an opportunity to work with and talk to. So he really enjoyed Imlay City. I'm really not from Imlay City. My wife and I came down to work with our in-laws, Marty and Dolores, in a newspaper that they just recently purchased. I was a school teacher by trade, and by education. So we came down to help them. And that was 1979. They bought the paper from the Sadler family. And Kim sold ads, and I did sports and photography and all that kind of stuff. And that was very much needed. And it didn't take us long, and it didn't take me long. I came down just simply to find another job teaching. Teaching jobs were difficult at that time in 1980, and never really expected it to be a lifelong occupation. And through Marty teaching us the business, it became something very pleasurable and something that we enjoyed doing. And I think that is something that we owe both Marty and Dolores our lives and our course of life on what they showed us and taught us. So I was, it's very pleasurable. It was a nice thing to do, and now our whole family's in the business, so it's pretty neat.